Alright, I'm back here again and with one more video. And what I'm going to do this time is going to start a timer so that I don't have to constantly go click a time. I think there's a stopwatch and I can always do relays, like then I can have those timestamps. Anyways, hope I can take a note somewhere, maybe just one or two. But I'm back here. This is the next day, not anymore 22nd March, it's 23rd March, and it's 1:40 in the night. I have had a long sleep during the day, so I'm okay staying up night and working on this. So right now we're going to learn about a bit of fruity delay. Also, I have a video to watch which is on not the subtractive one. I've already finished doing that. The how to remove noise from vocals and recordings. I just wonder what this is going to be about, because if it's about taking a noise sample from outside and then just cutting it off, I already know how to do that. But maybe since he's talking about removing noise from vocals, maybe in particular it'll have some buzz noise. You know, the buzz that comes with the electrical buzz that comes with your mic. If it's that, I also want to check if this is working fine. In the videos, I think in the mix video, he's usually showing him at the bottom right, so I'm going to just pull myself up in the top right so that I don't clash with what he's about to say. So let's start with delay, and we do
two things in this effects chain. One is a fruity sound, just ignore that for now. I've got a little bit of reverb just so that this sound isn't as sharp, and I'm just going to load the fruity delay 2. So what fruity delay 2 is going to do is it's going to take the initial signal and it's just going to repeat it. And how it repeats it is up to you, and that's what these dials here control.
Just a little bit of review before I get started. I've already watched 1 minute of this video. He's already spoken about how we're using FL Studio, by the way, if you're wondering. We're learning music production with FL Studio, and in music production there is composition and recording, which I'm not really gonna work on because I've already, like I said, I've already created 180 songs. If I go to my Facebook page, it's called 365 Songs of Shams. You can see that 79 songs are published. I have the 80th song already made. I just haven't published it. So it's called 365 songs. I was planning to make a song a day, but I failed. But I'm still continuing the challenge to finish 365 songs. This was song 39, song 79. If you want to hear a bit, you can kind of. This one, I think this one is a bit better. Like you can hear this one. I really like this song. It's
so. You ask me if your poem can be turned into a song.
I really like this song. It gets better in the moment.
What I need to say. Anything can be turned into a song. All you need is to carry on.
But anyway, so you can see my home setup there when I was like, this is my computer setup, FL Studio on my computer. So this is composition and recording, which I'm usually doing with my sound card here, and then I have a keyboard which you can see in this video. I'll show the keyboard. See, that's me playing and that's my sound, the looper machine that I use, loop machine that I use. This is me playing on a keyboard. So that's recording, and then with a sound card, then you get better sound quality. This is the kind of quality sound you would get. But as you can understand, it's taking my voice and the keyboard together. So I'm not really doing any sort of proper mixing. So, and also there's no production. So that's what we are mainly going to learn here, which is sound production, and for which we have opened a doc. In the last 2 videos, you've seen how I've spoken about compression and EQ for cleaning up the noise, cleaning up the sound. This video is going to be more about after the cleaning up process, what comes in is effects, and in the effect we're covering delay 2 right now. And we'll also go back to a bit of cleaning up sound, where we talk about cleaning up noise, the removing noise, which I already, like I said, I already know much about noise, but I want to see if in the mix has got some new information on cleaning up noise from vocals in particular. I'm going to do another timestamp here. Okay. So here, the way FL Studio is structured is that it has mixers. You have different mixers, and he's got a marimba sound. He's just put that into one of the mixer, and now he's going to talk about the delay that he's used to. So
just first things first, if I just press a note, you can just hear that it's added delays in. So starting at the right here, you have this dry dial. Turning it all the way to the left gives us only the delayed signal. So turning it to the left gives us none of that dry signal. If I press a key, you can see that it takes time for the delay to...
So I've obviously used the delay in FL Studio before. I'm just seeing if in the mix I've got new information, so I can explain to you as much as I understand. So here you can see the delay, and I didn't know that the dry was the one that actually controls how much you would hear from the, like, without the delay. So if it's all the way to the bottom, it means you're not hearing anything dry, like, which is dry means here that it's unprocessed. So if there's no unprocessed volume, then when you press a keyboard key, it's not going to make, like, it's not going to let you output the sound of that, but only output the sound of the delay after it's been added the delay. So, but here I've been used to using this volume bar and the cut and the volume and some time. But I'll get a better understanding now, like what it does.
Getting none of that dry signal. If I turn it all the way over to the right, the dry signal is going to be exaggerated. Middle clicking a dial at any time will just return it to its default position. So now looking over on this side, you have some options. So this is the signal input into this VST. So starting with volume, if no volume is fed into this VST.
By the way, what VST means is like it's a virtual instrument, which if you install FL Studio, it'll have the delay to preloaded, so you don't have to worry about that. But you can actually add more VSTs. Those VSTs means it works by itself, but it's added to FL Studio as a plugin. So delay 2 is what we're learning here.
You can see that there's absolutely nothing happening with the delay. If I feed a lot of volume in, you can see that it's very sensitive and it creates an awful lot of volume with the delays. Pan, so you have control over the left and the right of the signal here. If I pan it all the way over to the left, you'll hear that all the delays will be on the left-hand side.
So I can tell, I can hear it because I'm using a headphone. If you need to use a headphone to understand that the output is being panned. So the original sound is in the center, but the delays are all in the left. Now it's going to be all on the right.
Clockwise, all the delays will be on the right-hand side.
So I can hear that the sound started here, but then it all was being delayed on the right side. That's panning. So the input knob, so the input knob is mainly controlling basically like how much of the delay you're going to hear. Actually the output, which is kind of weird. And then where is it going to be pan to? Then we have feedback and time, which
so I hope that's
going to explain in a moment.
And should be quite simple. We have
I just figured that I should, or maybe I already did. So yeah. So you can see in the mix on the bottom right of the screen. So I'm on the top. So that's good. I just want to adjust a bit so that you can see more of me. Going back to the video.
The dry and wet signal, we have something to control the pan of the input and the volume of the input. Over here we have the time dial, and this will select how much time or the space in between each delayed signal. So for instance, if I set it small, and if you read up here, you can see that it's 1. Very, very quick delay time. If I set it larger to 8, so I'll just set it back to 3 or 4. And you can see that it's just delaying like that.
I really love delay, delay just makes it sound so soothing. But learning how to use the delay really well is going to make the difference here.
Is the feedback, and this is going to control the type of delay that happens. So in normal mode, whatever pan you set on the input will remain for the delay. So if I select an input pan of left on normal mode, the delays will pan over to the left. But for now, I'm just going to keep it in the center, and I'm going to look at the volume and this cutoff frequency dial. So what these control is the volume controls how many times it delays. So I'm just going to put it all the way down here, and you will hear only one delay. That's it.
It's kind of
weird. If I turn it all the way to the other side, you will hear delays to infinity. That's not going to stop. So I'm going to stop it by pressing this button up here.
So it's very interesting. Like, look at the volume. It seems like it's going to control the volume of your output, but actually what controls the volume of the output is this knob on the input, which he explained a few seconds ago. Whereas the volume here in the feedback will basically control how much delay, like how long the delay is going to be. The time was the interval timings, like ting ting ting, or is it going to be ting 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 ting? Is it going to be ting ting? Like how long it takes for the delays to come, the gaps between time. Whereas the volume controls how many of the delay you want. Interesting.
So somewhere in the middle is usually good. A couple of delays and it starts.
Excuse me about the yawning.
Down. Now what you can also do to make these fade away more smoothly is control this cutoff frequency. So if I keep it open, you can hear that all the delays sound very similar to the original signal, but they just sound a little bit quieter. If I control the cutoff, they don't just sound quieter, but they also have less high-end frequency information in them. You can hear the cutoff fades them away as well. This filter sweeps them away along with a decrease in volume. It can make it sound really natural. So that's normal mode, and that makes sense. Invert.
So cutoff, what I learned from cutoff, it's, I didn't get the knob idea too, but cutoff makes the sound, like the delay sound, slowly fall down, like slowly become less. I'm going to do another timestamp here, and as we talk about, or maybe I should do it after I'm done with the delay, because last, whatever, like around 10 minutes I've been explaining delay. We've been learning about delay. Okay, let's just continue. But the cutoff sound is as it diminishes, but I didn't get it how they do it with the frequency. Like, so I'm going to just go back a bit.
All the delays sound very similar to the original signal, but they just sound a little bit quieter. If I control the cutoff, they don't just sound quieter, but they also have less high-end frequency information in them. You can hear the cutoff fades them away as well. This filter sweeps them away.
So less cutoff
with a decrease in volume. It can make it sound really natural.
Less cutoff is meaning.
So that's normal mode.
Less you would hear, like less frequency you would hear. So when it was high cutoff, when this knob was at the highest, we actually heard a lot more. If I go back.
To do to make these fade away more smoothly is control this cutoff frequency. So if I keep it open, you can hear that all the delays sound very similar to the original signal, but they just sound a little bit quieter.
Yeah, so this time it's really
if I control the cutoff,
just getting
they
quieter.
Don't just sound quieter,
but if you make it in
also
half,
have less high-end frequency information in them.
So less the cutoff in the middle looks very natural.
Them away as well. This filter sweeps them away.
Let's talk about
normal mode, and that makes pan all the way to the left. The delays will be heard on the right, just like that.
So it's invert. It's inverting.
Ping pong mode is what we use most commonly, and this can really give a really cool spatial effect. So if you set it onto ping pong mode and then change the pan, maybe set it all the way over to the left, this will put one of the delays to the left and then the next one to the right, the next one to the left, the next one to the right, and continue doing that. Just like that. And I'm going to exaggerate this.
I can give you a headache too. You don't want to do that much.
It makes it sound incredibly wide. So now if I turn it back onto normal mode, the only dial that I haven't covered yet is this offset. So what this will do is this will take a standard delay and it will delay the left and right channels slightly to make it seem a little bit wider. So I'm going to exaggerate this. And I'm going to turn the dry all the way down so that you can just hear the delays. In the middle, the delays all feel like they move away in the center. If I just add a little bit of this. And this utilizes an effect known as a Hass effect, where you.
So what the offset really does, from what I heard, and from what you can also hear, is that when there is an offset, like the delays, they're not all both the panning is not happening at the same time. It's like ting, ting, ting. Like there's a little tiny delay, so a little tiny gap between each of the delay as they're bouncing on the right and the left. So like the right is coming a little earlier than the left, and then the right coming a little earlier than the left. If you have more offset, if you have like more offset on the offset, it means you would feel like it's spacious, right? There's like things happening on the left and right. That's what I think. What I understood.
Delay two signals in the left and right slightly, so that one plays slightly after, and then you kind of hear this difference in width and maybe difference in direction as well. You need to be careful with this. Sometimes if you do this and then you collapse the signal back into mono, it can sometimes sound a little bit odd. For now, you don't really need to worry about this time offset. So I've just gone over the basic features of this, but I'm going to show you a way to use it that's a little bit easier than putting.
So I can do a time step now and mention that, okay, just gone through the basics of delay. So now more advanced. This is going to be the third timestamp, and it's about delay to advance. Yep.
It in series like this. So I've got everything on the same channel in the same effects chain. So all I'm going to do is simply remove it from the channel that it's on, and this is where this fruity send comes in. So I've got another channel here called delay that's empty, and I'm going to click down here and go sidechain to this track. And then I'm going to open up Fruity Send, and I'm going to send it to the track that I've called Delay. So now all of this signal is sent to this delayed channel.
Okay, I need to pause and really understand that. It's so I've never used Fruity Send before, and also this whole idea of tracking it to like from one mix to the other, I need to understand that better. So let's just go back a bit and let's see what he explains.
In series like this. So I've got everything on the same channel in the same effects chain. So all I'm going to do is simply remove it from the channel that it's on, and this is where this fruity send comes in. So I've got another channel here called delay that's empty.
So the marimba is 57 channel, as you can see here. That's where the sound, like the marimba sound, was coming when he was pressing that MIDI keyboard over there. You can see he was using a MIDI keyboard. Now he's got a 58 channel where he has a delay. So this one just has a reverb. We don't really need to worry about that, but okay.
And I'm going to click down here and go sidechain to this track, and then I'm going to open up.
Okay, so he's sidechaining. So if he's sidechaining, why is it at the same time doing a send? I don't get that part though, but let's see.
And I'm going to click down here and go sidechain to this track.
So if you click the marimba and then you just right click on this button, you can sidechain. I will need to practice that. By the way, right now I'm using Linux machine, Ubuntu, so I can't really open my FL Studio on this machine. So I'm just learning, and I'm gonna have another session with you on my Windows PC where I can actually show you as I'm applying whatever I've learned.
And then I'm going to open up Fruity Send, and I'm going to send it to the track that I've called Delay. So now all of this signal is sent to this delayed channel.
So you basically can use the send to send the sound from here to that thing, but then what does the sidechain do? That's also a question, but anyways, I guess. I need to understand the benefit of this.
I'm going to put a delay 2 on the delay channel, and I'm going to turn the dry all the way down so that we just have the delayed signal. You can hear it like this. We're only getting the delays there. And I'm going to set it onto ping pong mode. I'm going to change the input pan a little bit so we get that stereo feel. So now what this lets you do is control the dry signal and the delay separately. So perhaps
I see now the reason why he did that. So he's wanting to separate so that in his delay he can completely close down the what was the thing? The dry volume, so that from the dry volume then he can kind of control from the delay channel, which is 58 channel. He's only going to control the output, like the delay sounds, and the input is on marimba, so he can control them separately. I don't know what's the benefit of that though, but we'll see.
Pong mode, I'm going to change the input panel, the dry signal and the delay separately. So perhaps you wanted to put an awful lot of reverb on the delayed signal, but wanted to keep the dry signal as it is. So I can keep the dry signal sounding like this, just a little bit of reverb, but I can still put a lot of reverb on the delays.
That's interesting.
You hear that? The reverb's just on the delay.
So that means he can then put effects on top of the delay and not on the original sound and keep less reverb on the original sound but more reverb on the delays, which is kind of interesting.
You could take
Didn't know you
these
could do that.
delayed signals, run them through an EQ, and you could just sort of gently shape the sound a little bit, try to color it a little bit, so that the delayed signal sounds considerably different to the input. You could also run it through saturation and such, just to make it sound really
So the
different.
send is a cool thing then. I can send something to another if another channel. I didn't understand that whole idea why he sidechained it, which if you sidechain it should not just work. But anyways, so you send it and then that sends it to another channel, and then that channel you can cut off the dry and just use the delay or whatever effect you want to use, right? So you have two separate ones, one with the original, one with the processed one, which is kind of cool.
Have a dry signal, and you can start fading in the delay.
And you can even automate that.
A perfect amount of delay. You can change the time, of course. And then you can just fade it in. Another great feature of using this second delay channel is that if you wanted to, say, distort the original signal, I'm just going to add Head Crusher, and I'm just going to, this is a great free saturation plugin. I can distort the original signal.
I'm going to note this down, Head Crusher.
But you can hear that the delays don't have any of that distortion on them, and it's just little artistic effects like that that can really give some space and width to a mix without just overloading it. You might want to keep the original signal clean and distort the delays instead, in which case it could sound a bit like this. Maybe a little bit crazy,
really cool.
It's
now I can kind of hear this sound and understand that, like, that's familiar. That's what you hear in usually when people use it, and I felt like, oh, maybe they're using some special sort of a sound effect or a synthesizer, but it's not. It's just a simple technique of using a 2-channel delay. So should I do a timestamp here? Because this is kind of the advanced delay option, 2-channel. I can maybe write it down there, 2-channel. Like 2-channel for the advanced one. But anyways, I'm going to continue.
Always like putting a delay on a separate channel just because it gives you lots of control. You can just take this fader down during a chorus and then there's not going to be any delay. And if you want a lot of delay, you can take it up. If for some reason you only want delay, you can just turn this original channel down and just have your delays. And I just find that it's a really good way to do it.
So you're also controlling the volumes and then
automated. One last feature that I forgot to show you was that this fruity delay on the time dial, if you look up into the top left-hand corner of the screen, you can see that it gives you these numbers, and if you land on a whole number, it's a perfect tempo-synced delay to your track. You can also right-click, press Set, and select how many steps you want the delays to be separated by, and it sort of jumps it on to the nearest step. So I hope this video has helped you learn how to use Fruity Delay 2. Thank you very much for watching, and don't forget to stay tuned for our next video.
So thank you to In The Mix YouTube channel. So I'm subscribed to it. Actually, I'm subscribing to it now. I've been using so many videos, watching so many videos. I've never subscribed. I'm sorry, In The Mix. I don't know your name though. I have to do some research to find out what your name is. But I've been learning a lot from In The Mix. I would recommend you subscribe to the In The Mix channel, YouTube channel. So I'm just going to test if everything is fine here. Everything seems to be fine on my OBS. So I'm recording fine. Yes, I'm recording fine. It's been 24 minutes. Okay, I'm going to do another timestamp, and this is going to be really about the removal noise. Like I mentioned that I'm going to talk about noise removal. So my 4th timestamp is going to be about noise removal. It's 24 minutes already. These are long videos. My first video, which I kind of did in the afternoon today and published just about hour ago, it was 1 hour, and then the second part to that video was half an hour. So that was a 1.5 hour long thing, 1 hour session and then a half an hour session. It's already 24 minutes. It's going to be a longer session here. I might as well. Now I'm going to do noise removal. Let's start.
Michael, you are watching In The Mix, and today we're going to be showing you how to
his
use
name
the
is Michael.
Edison to remove hiss and unwanted noise from your audio recordings and samples. This works whether you're going to record and you know that you're in a noisy environment, or whether you've already recorded and you simply need to remove noise from something that is already recorded. This technique is very simple, it takes only a few seconds to do, and if you like you can skip ahead to this time to just see the technique, but first I'm going to spend 1 minute talking about some things that will help you optimize this technique and make sure that it works for you. Okay. Firstly, when it comes to reducing noise in your recordings, I would always recommend starting at the source. Use acoustic treatment, use higher quality cables, try to eliminate the noise, turn off fans, but let noise in the recording isn't a problem. Sometimes we even add some noise back into a recording to make it sound more real. But let's just say, for instance, you have a voiceover or you have a vocal and you just want to remove noise from it. We don't have a vocal to demonstrate this technique on because our vocals are actually very noise free because of our booth. So what I've done is I've recorded some guitar, I've taken the microphone right up next to the computer, I've had the fans on full speed, I have a heater on in the room, my speakers are emitting a little bit of hum, and all of this is building up around the recording, and it's just an overwhelming amount of hiss that I'll show you in just a minute, and we're going to show you how to remove this. As with many techniques, sometimes less is more. You can often push this technique too far, it removes all the noise, and your recording can sound really alien, and sometimes you might want to actually ease back.
So that has happened. That has happened with me a lot. So I need to understand this. Like, there's a manual process of understanding what part of the noise you want to remove. So I'll probably have some things to learn from this video. Just a 5-minute video, so
the recording might sound a lot more natural. I don't personally recommend this technique for cleaning up vocals, but sometimes for other tracks it can be a lifesaver. So let's find out how to do it. So let's listen in for that noise that we want to reduce. And after adding effects, this noise just becomes worse. So we can hear that there's just a huge amount of mess. So let's go over to the mixer and take a look at this channel. It's an empty channel and I'm just going to add the Edison to it. I've called this denoise. Let's select our waveform and drag and drop it straight into the Edison. From here I'm just going to enable spectrum and dual view, and I'm going to change the display settings to something that I like the look of. Now we're going to look for a section that only has the noise. It's really important that there's no...
So I just want to review here like what he... So went to the viewer, and then he did a spectrum dual view, and then also used...
And I'm going to change the display settings to something that I like the look of.
Which is clear.
Now we're going to look for a section that only has the noise.
Okay.
It's really important that there's no squeaks or clicks, just the noise. Next, we right-click on this button to acquire a noise profile, and then we select the entire region that we want the noise to be removed from. Then we left-click on the same button again and it will pull up this little cleanup tool.
Now, so this is where I get confused. Like, now there's a straight line here and then it shows the noise that we got from the noise profile. So how do we, like, do we kind of sketch over it around to do this? Like, let's see.
You can preview what this tool is doing and how much noise it's removing. A good tip is to select the output noise only, and this will just let you hear what's being removed from the audio. Sliding to the left will remove less noise, and sliding to the right
that's a good technique. If you just do output noise only, then I can tell if it's taking away any guitar sound, right?
A lot more noise, but will also sound a lot more unnatural. The frequency scale and threshold dials are not as important for what we're doing, so just keep them in their initial position. Once you're happy with the amount of denoising, you can press accept and it will apply the denoising profile.
It didn't really show that straight line. Like I saw that I could actually change that, but he didn't really use that. So I'm gonna see maybe that's not important.
Let's hear the difference. Now simply select and drop and drag this cleaned up audio onto the playlist. Rename it something useful, give it a nice color, and send it somewhere on the mixer. Let's compare to the original signal.
I also learned an interesting technique, which is you open a channel, you just open Edison there, and you can just drag and drop a sound from here to there. So that's something I didn't know before.
When you're happy with the amount of noise reduction, you might just want to double check that the signal still sounds natural. So that really is it. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be making a video.
So that was it. I learned about denoising. I just learned. I used to do denoising with Edison. I also do it with Audacity, but I learned an interesting technique that he said about the leveling and then the output noise, and with that you can actually tell what actually is being denoised. So I didn't know that technique. It's pretty good. I'm gonna probably call this an end to my third video because we've learned about more about the fruity delay and then the vocals, noise removal on the vocals. How about we learn a bit about more effects in the next video? I'll call this an end. Thank you very much for joining me in the third learning video. Remember, this is not a tutorial. It's more about learning along sort of a video.